What's good, crypto fam? Be sure to say hello in the live chat. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin traders hope to buy the dip as the Bitcoin price heads towards $30,000. And quitting on-chain analyst Willy Woo, Hobby Exchange is looking like it's a slow-moving train wreck nearing its final throes. Collateral has been draining since 2020. Bitcoin balanced down from 410,000 Bitcoin to now only 26,000 Bitcoin left. Also, ETH and USDT balances also flatlining. A great reminder to take your crypto off the exchanges. Also in today's show, over $450 billion in Bitcoin gradually amassed by long-term Bitcoin hodlers, according to crypto analytics firm Glassnode. We'll also be discussing Coinbase stock exploding after crypto exchange named in new Bitcoin ETF filings. We'll also be discussing macro guru Raoul gives a crypto portfolio update and says the markets look bullish from here on out. We'll also be discussing the latest from Cathie Wood. She recently told Bloomberg she is still confident in the Bitcoin price hitting $1 million by 2030. Quoting her here, the more uncertainty and volatility there is in the global economy, the more our confidence increases in Bitcoin. Also, I'm going to be sharing with you the secret math behind the $1 million prediction, which is the M2 money supply calculation that nobody is talking about. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to receive daily premium Bitcoin news alerts every single day, just like this. And welcome everyone just tuning in. This is pod episode number 1333. I'm your host JV, and today is July 5th. 2023. Hopefully you had an awesome Independence Day. Let's check out the market. Our market watch right here shows Bitcoin down about 1% for the day, holding on to 30,400. We also have Ether correcting, trading back under 2,000, while all the major alts are currently correcting and in the red. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, the current crypto market cap is sitting just under $1.2 trillion with about 31 billion in volume in the past 24 hours, with a Bitcoin dominance back on the rise at 49.8% and the Ether dominance at 19.3%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, we have Filecoin leading the pack, up almost 5%, trading at $4.74, followed by Nexo, up 0.5%, trading at 64 cents, followed by Kronos, up almost 0.25%, trading just above 5.7 cents. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, a sea of wrecked coins, only a handful in the green, which include File and FTT, which is up 7.7%. And checking out one of my favorite indicators, which is the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. You can see we're currently rated a 61, which is greed. Yesterday a 64, last week a 62, and last month a 53, which is neutral. So there you have it. Now let's break down today's Bitcoin technical analysis and check out the charts and what's popping with the King Crypto, shall we? Here we go. Bitcoin headed lower into the July 5th Wall Street Open as a risk-off mood entered. U.S. equities, which we can see here in the Bitcoin one-day candle chart. Data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView showed Bitcoin tapping multi-day lows of 30,300 on Bitstamp. Bitcoin price action continued a sideways trading pattern within a larger range in place practically since mid-June, with no discernible progress towards breaking topside resistance. Bitcoin traders hope that a sweep of the lows would provide the fuel that the bulls needed, as Van de Pop points out here, reached for Bitcoin, showing you all these targets. And we also have Crypto Ed had in his eye on 30,000 just the other day, quoting him here. We're heading there. We look for reaction from that level. And crypto trader Jelly said buy the dip near 28,000, which has been a popular target. And quoting another analyst, as Bitcoin's daily bearish divergence plays out, I see a potential hidden bullish divergence shaping up. He revealed alongside a chart, if this ends up as just a shallow pullback, that could provide the juice we need to break through 32,000 once and for all, with 32 to 32.5 being the line in the sand. As many analysts say, once we could overcome that hurdle, we can head on up to 40,000, as there's nothing but thin air between 32.5 and 40K. Now this chart shows Bitcoin's relative strength index, better known as the RSI, printing the bearish divergence, which was referred to, and there was a little sign of panic despite the lack of upside momentum. Trader and analyst Rec Capital, following a strong monthly close, called intraday performance nothing to panic about, quoting him here. Nothing to panic about. Bitcoin could dip even deeper for a healthy technical retest to flip old resistance, which you can see in the black, into new support. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst. And personally, I am long while we are above 28,000 as we had a super good entry, said Crypto Tony. If you're not yet in a position, I would wait for this dip I am looking for or a flip of 31,000 resistance zone into support. Those are your two triggers for today. So there you have it. We also have Dan Crypto Trades, who shared on the lower time frames the bullish market structure is still intact, and he also says I would consider a 29.5 retest if Bitcoin were to lose the mid-range. Until then, liquidity sits at $31,004 to $31,500. And a warning from Willy Woo, he's a great on-chain analyst I respect and look up to. He says Hobby Global, which is one of the top exchanges out there, is looking like it's a slow-moving train wreck nearing its final throes. Collateral has been draining since 2020. Bitcoin balanced down from 410,000 Bitcoin in 2022 to now only 26,000 Bitcoin left. He also shares that ETH and USDT balances are also flatlining. So regardless of the exchange, don't matter if it's Binance US, Hobby Global, whatever, remove your crypto off the exchanges, not your, basically, if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. They own it. They control it. Hence why move your crypto to self-custody, such as a cold storage wallet, such as a Trezor. That would be my recommendation. And with that being shared, fam, now let's discuss the latest with 450 billion moved by the long-term hodlers who continue to accumulate. And where my long-term hodlers at, make some noise in the comments right down below. Here we go. Now, long-term hodlers have been gradually accumulating Bitcoin for nearly 2 years, according to the crypto analytics firm Glassnode. They note in a tweet that long-term hodlers amassed over 1 million Bitcoin in the past 602 days, bringing that cohort's total supply to 14.47 million BTC, just 20,000 Bitcoin short from the all-time high. The analytics firm also notes that shrimp holders, meaning addresses with less than 1 Bitcoin, have been aggressively accumulating Bitcoin at the rate of 33,400 Bitcoin a month. Glassnode says there have only been 130 out of the 5,263 total trading days, roughly 2.5%, that have recorded a larger monthly position change. The shrimp cohort now holds 1.33 million BTC. Now, Bitcoin at trading at 31,000-ish at this time. The top-ranked crypto asset by market cap is up 1.3% at the past 24 hours and still up roughly 87% since the start of the year. And despite the massive gains this year, Bitcoin remains around 55% down from its all-time high of more than 69,000, which we hit back in November of 2021. The crypto analytics firm Into the Block notes that about 75% of Bitcoin hodlers are making money at the Bitcoin current price. The firm also says that 69% of Bitcoin hodlers have held on to their Bitcoin for more than 1 year. So again, massive congratulations to all my long-term hodlers out there who have been hodling for a year or more. Now let's discuss everything you need to know regarding the Bitcoin ETFs and what's happening. And Coinbase has been soaring, at least their stock, as a result of this latest news. Let's break it down. Shares of Coinbase are up after the news that the exchange operator CBOE Global Markets refiled its spot Bitcoin ETF application. The US SEC previously rejected CBOE's app, which was filed on behalf of the financial giants BlackRock and Fidelity, the largest asset managers in the world, for being unclear and incomprehensive. Bloomberg senior ETF analyst Eric Valchunas said at that time there are certain details that the SEC wanted, including the naming of a crypto exchange to help facilitate the ETF. And quoting him here, basically the SEC wants them to name the crypto exchange and give more details on the surveillance agreement. That's understandable. Arguably good news. I was under the impression they'd have to update that as well. So there you have it. And now a refiling of the app has been sent through that says Coinbase has agreed to enter into a surveillance sharing agreement with the NASDAQ Stock Exchange for the proposed Bitcoin ETF, which makes it very interesting considering the current lawsuit versus the SEC, right? So while the SEC looks at the new ETF app involving Coinbase, the regulator is also in the middle of a lawsuit it filed against the crypto exchange last month, alleging the company was selling unregistered securities. Coinbase has since filed a motion to dismiss the SEC's lawsuit, arguing that the regulatory body lacks jurisdiction and that its transactions don't qualify as securities. Now, Coin shares are up 11% since the latest ETF filing and are now up 154% from their all-time low of 31 bucks and currently trading just below $80. Now, check this out. All the spot Bitcoin ETF filings that have recently been resubmitted, meaning the ball is back in the court of the SEC, and you can see right here, Ark 21 shares, Bitcoin ETF refiling, iShares Bitcoin Trust from BlackRock, the Bitwise Bitcoin ETP Trust by Bitwise, the Van Eck Bitcoin Trust, the Wisdom Tree Bitcoin Trust, Invesco Galaxy Bitcoin ETF, the Wise Origin Bitcoin Trust, and the Valkyrie Bitcoin Fund. So there you have it. When do you feel a Bitcoin spot ETF is likely to finally be approved in the United States, and which asset manager will get approved first? We know the track record of BlackRock with their ETFs being approved is like 575 to 1, which means like a 99.9% chance. But again, the question becomes when. I think it's likely to occur sometime before the next halving in 2024, which is roughly 9.5 months out. But let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. Now let's discuss the latest portfolio update from macro guru Raoul. I think this is going to leave many of you shocked, because I was shocked actually reading what he is holding and kind of embarrassed for him at the same time. I'm not gonna front. Then we'll dive into Cathie Wood's latest $1 million price prediction, as well as the secret math behind Bitcoin realistically hitting that 7-figure mark. And then we'll dive into our live Q&A. And welcome to each and every one of you just joining us. Now, Real Vision founder Raoul says he's remaining bullish on digital assets after significantly increasing his position size during the bear market. In a new Bankless interview, the former Goldman Sachs exec gives a portfolio update, saying he's still invested heavily into one of Ethereum's biggest rivals. Now, again, you got to see this to believe it. So quoting him here, "I don't change it a lot. I am very consistent in what I do. It is still about 80% Solana." Again, I would have never guessed this dude would be holding 80% Solana. I kind of feel bad for him. A small bit of Bitcoin. Good Lord. Talk about the opposite of a Bitcoin maxi. He has no faith in Bitcoin, but 80% Solana, things that make you go, he continues. "And a handful of other things that I bought just to feel the price. I don't want to mention them on Twitter." He's ultimately embarrassed because they're probably super-ish coins, is my guess, because then everyone destroys you and attacks you. Basically, it's the same portfolio that I've had, and I don't really change it. I haven't sold anything, so that answers something. I probably increased my portfolio by 30 to 40% in June to October. The Bitcoin bull, who refers to its forecast on crypto and tech stocks as part of the Everything Code, says that everything is lining up for another bull market with a potential climax in 2026. He identifies currency debasement and new capital arriving into the space as potential catalysts. Quoting him here, "The crypto market looks very bullish from here on out. I am reticent to name specific numbers, but this year looks more bullish than I expected." What is really interesting is that the Everything Code also matches the logarithmic channel. They're all consistent amongst different ways you back in and out. So yeah, it looks like a crypto cycle, and it looks like it should be. I don't think it's pure function of debasement, because if it was, then the 2021 cycle or 2020 to 2021 cycle would have been even bigger. It's a function of the amount of capital available to move the space, etc. So yeah, it looks very positive to me, and I don't think we need to get worried until 2025. So there you have it. And to watch this video, he did check the show notes below the video in the description. And what are your thoughts surrounding the macro guru holding on to 80% of his portfolio being Solana, with a very tiny minuscule amount being in Bitcoin? What are your thoughts on that? I definitely need to read these thoughts out loud towards the end of the show. And now let's dive into the latest from Ark Invest is Cathie Wood. She's predicting 1 million and standing firm by that prediction. I know she's said before that, the most bullish case would be a $1.5 million Bitcoin price by 2030. She said her base case scenario, 600,000, and the medium average being roughly 1 million to 1.1 million. So let's break this down, and then we'll break down the math of how this can become a reality. Here we go. And massive shout out to Cathie Wood. She was recently interviewed by Bloomberg and says the more uncertainty and volatility there is in the new global economy, the more confidence increases in Bitcoin. She is also naturally very bullish on Coinbase stocks, so she must be very happy on the back of what's happening there. So here we go. While more or less, according to the SEC chairman Gary Gensler, the crypto industry right now looks about as useful as an ashtray on a motorbike or a fourth seamer in the Indian cricket team, none of this seems to be putting off Cathie Wood. Come to think of it, though, the U.S. crypto industry has proved pretty useful for filing the SEC's coffers and humongous settlement fines. Ark Invest Cathie Wood, who was at Morgan Stanley event in Sydney just the other day, is, as you probably well know, a bit of a tech stock loving human headline, and Coinhead is nothing if not the first with the secondhand news on said Wood headlines. So here's a little breakdown of some of the more head-turning, you can't be serious notions she recently gifted us with, talking about this $1 million prediction. In an interview with Bloomberg, she indicated that the uncertainty and volatility of the global economic landscape has actually increased her thesis of Bitcoin being an antidote to inflation and counterparty risk. Wood has, in fact, reiterated her prediction that the OG digital asset will hit a lofty price target of $1 million by 2030. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Cathie Wood. Now, they say they're a little disappointed in Wood, though, because in September of 2021, she first went on public record with a lofty Bitcoin prediction of 500,000. Then in January of 2022, she made her first Bitcoin to 1 million by 2030, crystal balling. And by now, we would have hoped for another doubling down of a 2 million prediction with some random time frame. But nah, a bit like the Fed's likely to do in June, she hit the pause button. Still crypto hopium crack pipe addicts. Why I gotta be crack pipe addicts, kid? Won't be too disappointed. Why can't it just be hits from the hopium bong? You feel me? Anyways, $1 million Bitcoin within 7 years. Let me know if you feel that's a realistic target for the King Crypto. Now, if the US dollar is worth anything at all by then, that is, so do you keep that in mind? There's hyperinflation. And Coinbase is still an Ark buy. She has been very bullish on this regarding the legal quagmire of the world's biggest crypto exchange. You got Binance and Coinbase now finding themselves in over of the US of A, thanks to Gary Gensler, No Clarity Gary, and his SEC pal. Wood believes those two entities are built entirely different. They're not in the same bucket, she noted, emphasizing that she believes the Binance situation in the U.S. is far more serious than the SEC's Coinbase lawsuit, which she obviously would say, with Ark being a hefty investor in the Coinbase stock. Wood also said we have competition for Coinbase disappearing, so that is a good thing longer term for Coinbase, adding that it was unfortunate that the SEC targeted Coinbase the day after taking action against Binance, and Ark also bought 419,000 shares more of Coinbase stock, worth about $22 million. And this was roughly, I'd say, about a month ago. So I say she must be pretty excited for that investment. And now let's dive into our final story of the day, because we discuss a lot the Bitcoin price hitting these lofty targets, 500,000, 1 million, etc. But what about the math? How can that realistically happen? Well, here's the math that nobody is talking about. Let's break this down. I think you'll get a lot of value out of this. Here we go. So why and when Bitcoin hits $1 million. Now let's talk about the M2 money supply does to the stock market. Stick until the end and you'll get more context and better understand. Now the M2 money supply represents all the money circulating in the economy, which includes cash, savings accounts, bank accounts, etc. This number is provided by the Fed. And yes, M2 is also somehow correlated to GDP growth. A growing economy also needs more money walking around to facilitate commerce. Now the thing is, the more money and cash that exists in the economy, either because the Fed is printing money or because the GDP is growing, the more will be allocated to investments by the people. A certain percentage of that money supply will always flow to the stock market, bonds, and other boring stuff, but also into cryptocurrency. I'm not sure what percentage of that is, but if I'd had to guess, I'd say roughly 1%. So let's go back to the correlation between the M2 money supply and the stock market. In this case, the S&P 500. Although this chart only goes back 20 years, it's safe to say that this correlation exists since the M2 money supply is recorded, an example, since 1959. And since 1959, the more money is circulating in the economy, the more money will flow to investable assets. So in that chart, it's pretty clear that the S&P 500 and the M2 are quite correlated. It's also pretty clear that when the money printer went burr back in 2020, there was a big surge of the stock market. This has also been true except for the 2008 crash, where despite the M2 increase, the market continued in panic mode. The chart here shows us the M2 money supply for the US, China, Japan, and Europe, the four biggest economies, and all of them, with no exception, increased the money supply for most of the time. And also notice that while the US is contracting the money supply in 2022 and this year, which has translated into a bear market, China and Japan continue to flood the market with trillions of dollars. However, things are about to change. The US is about to turn up the M2 tap, which are our faucet if you're an American. Now this orange line symbolizes the Fed fund rate, the green line is inflation decreasing, and the blue line is the M2 money supply will sooner or later go back to its previous trajectory. And I'll be sure to include this as well in the show notes below the video in the description for you to break it down. Now the Fed funds rate expectations are favorable to all investable assets, including, of course, cryptocurrency. So let's go. In conclusion, medium long term, 5 to 10 years, the stock market and crypto will do amazing. Just revisit this again 10 years from now. I mean, what are your thoughts? According to the calculations, during the last bull market, the M2 money supply increased by approximately 43%. The Bitcoin price increased 1,200% during the same period. And for every 1% of M2 increase, Bitcoin increases by 27%. So if over the next 10 years, the M2 continues to grow at the same pace of the last 30 years, the money supply will grow by 119%. 119, and you also have 27. I guess that's times is 3,320%. This is what Bitcoin can grow over the next 10 years. Bitcoin now worth roughly 30,000. So 30,000, I guess, times 3,320%. That would be $996,000 per Bitcoin, which is how we get to a $1 million Bitcoin price. So yeah, it can reach $1 million in 10 years, or as Cathie Wood predicts, within the next 7 years. There are, of course, many other variables that were not taken into account, other macroeconomic factors, regulations, wars, and pandemics. But if we look at the M2 money supply alone, which is a pretty strong indicator, then $1 million Bitcoin price in 10 years is actually pretty realistic. So take that, Bitcoin perma bears. And with that being shared, fam, now let's dive into today's live Q&A. What are your thoughts surrounding the math? I mean, math doesn't lie, numbers don't lie. Verify everything, believe nothing. And I'm glad we got to break down some of that math. Massive shout out to everyone here in the live chat joining us here today. What's good? Bring facts. Steve Hubbs was popping. Coin Father was good. Bitcoin Trini in the building. Jeff S. Good to see you. Adam 2, Nate Scandoval was popping. Roger Smith in the building. Bit Trio, welcome. Selling with Twins, always a pleasure. David Earnhardt, welcome. Good to see you. Baz Dragon was popping. Yeah, good to see y'all. Corky C was good. And let's start rattling out all of these comments. And massive shout out to Coin Father. He says he orange pilled 6 people at a barbecue the other day. So I said, congrats on doing God's work. That is what's up. Much love and much respect. Also appreciate y'all joining us at this time slot at 4 p.m. Eastern here today. Jeff says Coinbase and Gemini have Bitcoin price at 30,500. Binance US has Bitcoin price at 28.4. On Binance US, USD deposits are currently unavailable. Well, go figure. I guess because of the ongoing attack by the SEC. So who knows? But things are pretty sketchy there right now. If I had any crypto on any of these exchanges, I would remove it ASAP. Again, crypto exchanges are for making your trades and do what you got to do. If you got to buy crypto, buy your crypto, but don't keep it on the exchanges. You know what I mean? What you want to do is have a cold wallet, cold storage, we call that, such as a Trezor device, and you could own your own private keys, and then it becomes untouchable and out of the reach of hackers. If you keep your crypto on the exchange, number one, there's a risk of hackers. Number two, there's a risk of unlawful enforcement by the SEC. They can freeze the assets on the exchange. Just a lot of things can go south. We have witnessed this last year with the second largest crypto exchange, Scam Bankman-Fried's company FTX, and we're witnessing it right now with Binance and also with Coinbase. So again, make your trades on the exchanges and immediately remove your crypto off the exchanges would be my personal recommendation. Kraken has Bitcoin at 30,500. So it just seems Binance US, it's underpriced. But then again, if you can't make deposits and your funds can get frozen, there's no purpose in using Binance US. So just heads up. People are using Binance US or selling Bitcoin, but not buying, I am guessing, because nobody can deposit money to buy. That's a good assumption, fam. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I love spreading the Bitcoin signal, says Coin Father. Much love, much respect. Binance is slowly bleeding to death, says Jeff S. Kind of sounds like Hobby Global as well. Seems to be playing with a lot of the exchanges right now. So my cardiologist doc, when I was recovering in the hospital, a blood clot, has now added Bitcoin on his list of assets for investments. Congrats again. Coin Father even orange pilled his doctor. That's what's up. Much love and much respect. Recommended Jeff Booth's book, Price of Tomorrow, and he loved it. And from my 30 to 45 minute convo, I had orange pilling him, and he is not completely hooked, but is definitely added as a hedge. Again, you're doing Satoshi and God's work. Much love, much respect. Jess Swan has Bitcoin for 30,600, and Fold has it for 30,700, and I get no fee. Word up. Mike Well, better get your assets out of Binance. SEC might be on track with the Binance crooks. Sage advice. I moved everything off of Binance. Happy to hear that. Jeff S. Smart move. If Binance goes under, the crypto market will take another big hit. Prices will fall. Yeah, it could happen. Of course, anything can happen. I managed to vacuum up more coin. Life is good. Continue stacking them stats. Uber Hodler, well done. LFC Liverpool Film Club in the building. Tony Jeffries in the room. Welcome, man. Appreciate you tuning in from the UK. Much love, much respect. Good afternoon, says Savvy Bitcoiner. Good afternoon. What's new? What's poppin'? Holla at your boy. Appreciate you tuning in. Selling with Twins, reminding everyone to smash that like button. I greatly appreciate that, especially if you're new to the channel. And of course, interaction and comments help out tremendously as well with the YouTube algorithm. I greatly appreciate that. And yes, this is pod episode number 1333. Let's go. Corky C in the building. Murky, Mark Della, welcome. Rocket ship to the moon, says Selling with Twins. That is what's up. Waiting for the next pump it up. Jeff, I'm talking about Binance. If they are kicked out of the United States operation, yeah, it's very unfortunate for those who have your crypto on Binance. So once again, a warning. Been warning people for a very long time. Not your keys, not your cheese. Let's go, says Courageous. Welcome, Courageous. Well, Bitcoin came down a little like I expected a few days ago when I said in the chat 32.5 is that key string resistance. We need to close above and then confirm above. Word up, you did call that. Much respect to Coin Father. Paul Gamble says, I am surrounded by so many non-Bitcoiners. I keep trying to explain, but a glaze comes over their eyes. What are your guys' thoughts on Raoul Pal? 80% of his bag is Solana. Look at the price of Solana over the past couple of years. That's why I said I feel sorry for that dude. Granted, he's probably worth tens of millions of dollars. Who knows, maybe even hundreds of millions. So I don't feel sorry in that way. I just feel sorry that he has so little Bitcoin, but he has all these ish coins, and he has ish coins he doesn't even want to reveal that he has because he knows people will make fun of him and attack him. So that means, what is he holding? FTT? What other scam coins? I mean, good Lord. It kind of sucks, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, Bitcoin is the least risky crypto asset, which is the fastest horse in the race. So smart money is in Bitcoin. The gamblers, the degens, they're long on all the alts, everything except Bitcoin. And it's mind-boggling to me, but it's just the nature. Some people see it, some people don't. You know, it just is what it is. But what are your guys' thoughts? Yeah, know your pain, bro, says Selling with Twins to Paul. Not your keys, not your nacho cheese. That's what's up. Selling with Twins, put a 1 in the chat. Gary Gensler must go. That's what's up. If you agree with Selling with Twins that Gary Gensler should be fired and potentially be audited and sent to prison, put a big fat 1 in the chat or in the live chat. Let us know where you stand. Hodling and stacking sats since 2017, says Steve Hubbs. That's what's up. Same as here. We're in the same boat. I got started in Bitcoin back in 2017 as well. And could you believe it's 6 years already? That means we're going to be Bitcoin OGs when we hit a decade long, right? Once 2027, I would officially call ourselves OGs. That's what's up. 10% income goes into Bitcoin. I increase it from 5% to get it cheap before the ETFs are approved and rocket ship to the moon, says Coin Father. That's what's up. Andrew says, JV, I would love a daily crypto meme section on Crypto News Alerts. A meme a day keeps the FUD away. Well, maybe you guys can help spark that. If you can put some memes maybe in the comments, and maybe the best memes I could introduce and read during the live show, during the Q&A, we could work something out. Let me know what you guys think. Corky says ETF, rocket ship to the moon. That's right. There's trillions of dollars sitting on the sidelines from the major institutions. And once a spot Bitcoin ETF finally gets approved in the United States, it's game on. It's going to usher in mass adoption. But let me clarify, we don't need spot Bitcoin ETF as plebs, as everyday investors. In fact, I would never invest into an ETF. I'd rather have the asset on a cold storage device such as a Trezor. To me, that makes the most sense. It's the safest. There's no third party involved. However, if you're an institution, you're unable to invest the same way an ordinary pleb can. You need a Bitcoin ETF to invest that kind of money with all the regulations and things going on. So the Bitcoin ETFs are for the big money. If we want mass adoption, we need big money to come. Now, currently, there's spot ETFs in other countries, but not in the United States. And this is all by design because the SEC is corrupted. Gary Gensler is fraudulent, and it just is what it is. That's what we're dealing with right now in the United States, and we've been dealing with for a long time. In fact, the Winklevoss twins a decade ago applied for the first Bitcoin spot ETF in the United States, and it's been declined. Now they're refiling, and there's a dozen other ETFs being refiled at the same time. So the race is on. Bitcoin game theory in full effect, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it is what it is. Coinbase and SEC, I believe, is going to come to a settlement agreement in the next 6 months. I also think Coinbase will settle with the SEC, considering that BlackRock already named them as the crypto exchange. So if they're the chosen exchange, how can the SEC continue to go after them for selling unregistered securities? Then why would they allow BlackRock, to partner with them and allow a spot Bitcoin? Like, the whole thing makes no sense, but it just goes to show you they know something we don't know. And more than likely, I think Coinbase will get the green light, and I think they will harshly continue to attack Binance and CZ as their public enemy number one right now, in my humble opinion. What do you guys think? Thanks. I studied Bitcoin and crypto for about a year in 2016, started trading GBTC in my Schwab accounts in March 2017, then got a Coinbase account in late July 2017, started buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. That's what's up, fam. Appreciate you sharing. Coke found in the White House. They say they're hunting for the source. Hunting for Hunter. You can't make this stuff up, folks. Isn't it hilarious? We live in a clown world. It's the crack house now. That's right. No more White House. It's the crack house. Right on. I think the first two spot ETFs to be approved will be Ark and BlackRock, and it will be late this year. Yeah, that's right. Cathie Wood says that Ark is first in line. Let's see how that plays out. It'll be interesting. Great guesses there. You should go deep dive in the Gemini Earn situation. That is very interesting. We covered in great detail the open letter that Cameron Winklevoss released to Barry Silbert, just boldly calling him out. We'll see how Barry reacts, because I think they have until the 7th before they launch a lawsuit against Barry Silbert if he decides to do nothing about it, as he has been doing thus far. Raoul probably holding FTX tokens. Exactly my thought. Is he holding FTT? Probably. He's in the green for today. Congrats, Raoul Pal. I'm sure the coke head hunter didn't bring it into the White House. Yeah, sure. Nate sent a super chat. I appreciate it. Bitcoin doesn't need institutions. Institutions need Bitcoin. Facts. Meaning, even without a spot Bitcoin ETF and even without the major institutions, Bitcoin can still do what Bitcoin is going to do. It's on its own trajectory. It will still hit $1 million with or without it, because Bitcoin is the chessboard. It runs the board. And Gary Gensler is just a freaking pawn or a knight on that chessboard. I truly do believe that, and I appreciate the super chat contribution coming from Nate, so much love and much respect. Solana will rip. It has a lot of potential. Wasn't it at one point hundreds of dollars per coin? Where are we at today? Let's actually take a look at the charts. We have Solana down to $18. That is kind of pathetic. But hey, it has a lot of potential. If you believe in it, it is what it is. A lot of people were bullish on Solana, but it was, I think, because the FTX exchange and Scam Bankman-Fried is why it was pumped up so much. The venture capitalists were all pumping it, but, will it collapse to zero? Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I'd much rather be holding Bitcoin than Solana. That, my friend, is a fact. Ain't no way Raoul Paul is holding 80% Solana. Do you think he just says that to confuse people? I'd be embarrassed to announce that myself. Obviously, it's not true. The majority of my holdings are Bitcoin, of course. I'm a maxi. But 80% Solana, very little Bitcoin. Whew. Again, I feel sorry for the dude, but hey, it is what it is. Usually they take 6 months from application date. That's right. Gives just enough time for the SEC to approve the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF right before the halving, which would be the perfect storm. You know what I mean? Right before that next parabolic rally. As we all know, four-year halving cycles occur in the Bitcoin market. Marry your alts at your own risk. Exactly, fam. Wise words coming from Bring Facts. Keep your politics to yourself, says Roger Smith. Word up. Were we talking politics? I didn't even realize it. Done the best in Bitcoin compared to the alts over the last 6 years. Are you talking about Solana? Yeah, obviously Solana did well. It came out of nowhere and it became a top token, but now it's kind of, I don't know, back down 90%, 99%. I don't know where we're at. Jeff says, love Cathie Wood. I love Cathie too. She's an innovator here. Bitcoin will hit $1 million, but what will be purchasing power of $1 million in 2030? Great question. Will the US dollar even exist? Or will we have full out, CBDCs by that time, digital dollars? It'll be very interesting. And maybe we won't be comparing Bitcoin to dollars at any longer at some point. Maybe it'll be compared to gold. Maybe an ounce of gold will be like Bitcoin today is trading at, whatever, $100,000, but again, not dollars, but compared to like the gold supply now, I think gold is trading at roughly $2,000 an ounce. So I don't know how that'll look, but it'll be interesting. Cathie Wood equals moon mummy. Mommy, says Adam, word up. Send this baby to the moon then. Coinfather says 6 months is if everything is perfect and none of these ETFs are, according to Gary, closer to the halving is realistic time for ETF. I think so as well, fam. Hex creator Dick Hart said his crypto is better than Bitcoin, so I bought more Bitcoin and never held any Hex. Who was right? That's hilarious. Will the halving be sooner than expected? Well, it's going to be roughly sometime between April and May. There's charts that show you. We don't know exactly when it could be. It could be sooner or later, but it'll probably be roughly 9 to 10 months out from now, more than likely. It's not happening this year. If you're anticipating that, not going to happen. At least I can still deposit USD on Coinbase. Good to note. Fax was right. Yeah, PUBO halving sometimes in April, early to mid-April. The halving will be the same block it's always been scheduled for. The timing is only slightly adjustable. Exactly. Does higher hash rate accelerate the halving? No. The higher hash rate makes the network more secure, but it doesn't speed up the halving. If that was the case, we would just get a bunch more miners and have a halving a lot sooner than later, right? If we can have a halving sooner like now versus wait next year, there'd be people on the network that would want to make that happen. So it doesn't work that way. No difficulty adjustment prevents that. That is right. Betrio, there is difficulty adjustments. Slightly, but difficult adjustments bring it back. Word up. Thank you guys. You're very welcome. Day nada. Appreciate it. Interesting. TikTok on average, every 10 minutes, another block. Facts. Long-term Bitcoin will continue to outpace the M2 money supply, in my opinion. I agree, Steve Hubbs. Digital Orgy, what a username. How are you not concerned with a 51% attack on Bitcoin? I think the altcoin should be concerned on a 51% attack on the alts, because right now the Bitcoin market cap is roughly 51%. That is a 51% attack. And Michael Saylor, who is a rocket scientist, he believes Bitcoin dominance will continue rising up to 80% this cycle. So again, that's an attack on the alts, not an attack on Bitcoin. You know what I mean? So I'm not concerned whatsoever over any attacks. If the Bitcoin network was vulnerable from 51% attacks, it was way more vulnerable a decade ago, 5 years ago. It is strong right now because, again, the more hash rate increases, the more miners that come to the network, the more secure the Bitcoin network becomes. In 20 years, it will matter if you bought. Will it matter if you bought at 20 or 60,000 if it's 20 to 50 million? Great point, brother. Appreciate you sharing that. How are you not concerned that China could have created Bitcoin? It's irrelevant who created Bitcoin. It could have been created by the US government. It could have been created by China. It could have been created by anyone. How does that change anything? It's still a decentralized protocol. They still can't change it. So even if they got proof Bitcoin was founded by XYZ, doesn't change anything. It's 100% irrelevant. So I'm not concerned whatsoever. You know what I mean? Have a great day, everyone. Appreciate it. Uber hodler. Can still easily happen, says Digital Orgy. Well, anything can happen. I could get hit by a car crossing the street. That don't mean it's going to happen. But yeah, there's probabilities in everything. That's real talk. Raoul has several portfolios. Makes sense. Obviously holds a lot of altcoins. Embarrassed to admit which ones, but he did admit he holds Solana. Bitcoin is the king, says we'll stop Sun versus Guru. Word up. We all know that is a fact. Bitcoin stackers, appreciate you tuning in. Much love, much respect. Bitcoin strong like a bull. You already know, fam. I guess any of us that have got in before the institutions are early. That's right. How does it feel to front run BlackRock? How cool is that? Much love, much respect. Raoul doesn't need the money. Some months ago, he was bullish on AVAX. Yeah, I would imagine. Probably a millionaire before he even got into crypto, but still at the same time. Think about all the people he has been leading who got wrecked on altcoins because he has been anti-Bitcoin for quite some time now. You know, at one point, he was very bullish on Bitcoin, talking great things about it, but then he turned to the dark side, in my opinion, and just started going super bullish on alt, saying they're all going to outperform Bitcoin. I have very little Bitcoin. And I'm just like, okay. I'm just going to sit back and watch and see how this baby plays out. How about the Satoshi wallet gets emptied? Well, what if Satoshi's wallet got emptied? Do you think it would destroy Bitcoin? No. What is there, 1 million coins in there? That's only 1 million. That's only a fraction of the Bitcoin supply. Michael Saylor holds 150,000 Bitcoin. He's catching up to Satoshi. And you also have Tether USDT making strategic reserves, investments into Bitcoin as well. I think MicroStrategy and USDT are going to be the biggest hodlers of Bitcoin in the future. Absolutely, at the rate they're going. Just at their current rate, they can own 40 to 50% of the Bitcoin supply over the next coming years. I saw an analyst break down the math on that. You know what I mean? Michael Saylor is now break even. They're barely in the green right now. Has $4.5 billion invested into Bitcoin through MicroStrategy. Understand he also has a big personal Bitcoin stack. That is right. That is a fact. MicroStrategy holds over 150,000, making them the largest publicly traded company with Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Garrett Soloway made a lot of people miss out on Bitcoin, 95% pumps. Yeah, to me, that's sad. But it is what it is. I've been bullish on Bitcoin here on the channel since day one, even during the bear markets, because I understand the technology. I put in my 100,000 hours of research. Facts. This is episode number 1333, for Christ's sake. Word. Jim Cramer has said it's over for Bitcoin, thus it's just getting started. Exactly. Inverse Cramer. Cramer is paid for to be there by the banking cartels to give you the wrong information to get you wrecked, because he wants investors to lose their money, and he's protected. He can give you all the wrong investment advice for the rest of his life. He'll never go to jail, right? He's protected by Wall Street because he's a part of that same system. So if he says, sell your Bitcoin, it's going to zero, we couldn't ask for a more bullish signal. Thank you, Cramer. Appreciate that, fam. Can Bitcoin ordinals affect the Bitcoin blockchain going forward? Well, it seems to have congested the blockchain, but again, new technology rolls out to prevent that. I'm not an expert on ordinals or NFTs, so I think it has some sort of effect, but I don't think it will destroy Bitcoin if you're worried in that sense. That's a fact. Bring facts. Bring facts that Jim Cramer has said it is over. Yeah, so anything Jim Cramer says, just do the opposite. Let's talk Bitcoin Cash, says Jay. Well, we know Bitcoin Cash was a fork from the Bitcoin network that Roger Ver did. I think it's getting big adoption, maybe in Japan and some Asian countries, but it has been getting destroyed against Bitcoin. Look at the charts, Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash. Obviously, people prefer Bitcoin and not Bitcoin Cash. I'm not a fan of Bitcoin Cash. I never been. I haven't been an investor in Bitcoin Cash. I prefer the real thing, and I just prefer Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Personally, people could continue to fork Bitcoin all they want. There's Satoshi Vision. There's a lot of options out there, and just by having Bitcoin in the name makes it a top crypto, because some people just don't know the difference between the two. You know what I mean? Maybe Bitcoin Cash sounds sexier to some people because it has the word cash in it, but if you understand Bitcoin, I have Bitcoin because I don't want cash. So I'm just rather have pure Bitcoin. Soloway is a short-term trader, guys. That's his MO, a very successful short-term trader. Yeah, we're not knocking him. I just find it hilarious. Sometimes people just like to say the opposite of the consensus of everything else. So if everyone is bullish, there's that one investor. Yeah, people are expecting 30,000, but here's why it's going to go to 3,000. That seems to be Soloway. Again, I don't follow the guy, I don't watch what he says, but I see the headlines, and typically he is always bearish, even during the most bullish times. Probably why I don't follow him. XRP, clown. J-Dub the Laker was popping. Statwise says Cramer is the ultimate clown. Facts. Word up. Got the hell out of Binance. Word up. Bitcoin is up 100% in under a year. Facts. Chris, exactly. But he also said Bitcoin would rip Q1 and Q2 of 2023. Cash is trash. Word up. Bitcoin is it. First bought Bitcoin at 2,798, late July 2017. That's what's up, man. Good to see. So you're up, what, roughly? Is that like 3,000? You're up over 10x. So much love, much respect. Keep stacking them stats. Anyways, fam, now for a recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. I broke down the latest technical analysis. We discuss Bitcoin traders hoping to buy the dip as the price heads back towards down to 30,000. We also discuss over 450 billion in Bitcoin gradually amassed by long-term hodlers. So congrats to all you long-term hodlers out there. We also discuss Coinbase stock exploding after crypto exchange named in the new Bitcoin ETF filings. We also discuss Raoul giving his crypto portfolio update, saying the market looks bullish from here on out and that he holds 80% of his portfolio is Solana with a very little bit into Bitcoin. We also discussed the latest from Cathie Wood telling Bloomberg she is still confident the Bitcoin price of hitting $1 million in 2030, and also broke down for you the secret math behind the $1 million price prediction, which is the M2 money supply calculation that nobody is talking about. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments. Write down